I'm that one guy, and we're going to be doing a Let's Play of Dark Souls. Now, the sequel is going to be coming out in a couple of days, and I really wanted to use this opportunity to kind of get my bearings on how to do any kind of streaming or recording softwares for PC gaming. I've never done it before. Any recommendations from you guys are going to be very much welcomed. I want to get this as solid as I can, just so that it's easy to view. It's not a pain. Any tips you guys have on audio quality, video quality, stuff like that. I don't really know entirely what I'm doing, but I think I've got the basics down. So when Dark Souls 2 comes out, I want to do a blind playthrough because those can be fun to watch at times. Definitely more fun than an experienced playthrough, especially for people that have already gone through the game. I feel it lets you kind of re-experience the discovery of the game, albeit vicariously through another person. But yeah, so I'll be planning to do that, and I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this Let's Play. I thought maybe doing a challenge run, because those can be kind of fun to watch too, but I'm not. I don't feel confident enough to be able to complete a challenge run by the time the game comes out, the sequel. I might not even finish this one, but at least I'll be able to pick this up and maybe finish it as a guide for anybody that's really interested. So any kind of feedback from you guys is good. Alright, why don't we just get into it? So I wasn't entirely sure of what kind of character I wanted to make, but I was thinking, what have I never really made and played through on my own? And surprisingly, that was like a pyromancy character. I've just never really bothered with it. A lot of people say it kind of makes the game pretty easy. It's really easy to weave into just a melee build, even though you kind of have to give up some slots for attunement. But I've never bothered with it. Either went straight sorcery or actually, you know what I never did? I've never made a cleric. Let's go ahead and do that. I've never done miracles ever. So let's give that a shot. And no, let's not do the master key. If I'm gonna use this as a guide, I don't want to be taking people through areas that maybe they shouldn't be going through. So let's just go with black fire bombs. Average. Don't really care. Sure. Not gonna be looking at her hair most of the time anyways. I'm not going to bother with any of the cinematics. If you guys really want to see it, you can see it during your own playthrough, or you can just look them up on YouTube. They just kind of waste time. Alright, so this is kind of what you look like when you start up the game. You look kind of undead, and that's exactly what you are. You're an undead. It's possible to retrieve your fleshy body, but that doesn't happen until a little bit into the game, and they never exactly tell you about it. They just kind of hint at it. Blah blah blah. So nothing special here, just killing guys. These guys don't fight back. They're just meant to be tutorial dummies. They don't do anything for you. Just give you 20 souls, it's pocket change. If you started at soul level 1, you would just need to farm these guys forever without end before it even mattered. So it's really just there to kind of teach you the controls, give you a feel for fighting, how different attacks, how long they take, stuff like that. So when you light a bonfire, you activate it to be able to sit down and use it. When you rest at a bonfire, it respawns all of the enemies in the area, and it fully heals you, and it recharges all of your spells and healing items. Spells in this game, they just have a limited number of uses. When they drop down to 0, that's it, they're done. There's no way to regain cast numbers outside of using a bonfire. There's no consumable items or other spells that will bring that number back up. So here, this is always a really fun area to see new players get to. Let's see if I can. Yeah, nobody ever notices him. He's just kind of up there staring at you. And people just run in. They don't know what to do. He comes down, and people just kind of freak out. They don't know what's going on. They go up and they hit him. It's doing 2 damage. They have no idea. Now, what you normally want to do is a door over here opens as soon as he lands, and the game really wants you to use that. They don't count on you taking any gifts like these black fire bombs. You know, they don't require you to have any skill whatsoever for this fight. Just kind of an observation. They even give you this hint right here. It says, "Get away." They're not encouraging you to fight this guy. They just want to show you, you know, this is the kind of stuff you're going to be seeing throughout the game, and it's meant to overwhelm you. And by the time you actually get back to this guy, he's going to be easier. And it's like an ego stroker almost. Like, you feel really good that you beat this guy, but I took the black fire bombs. I'm just going to go ahead and kill him. So if you kill him right off the bat, you get this weapon called the Great Demon's Hammer, and he always gives you a humanity. I'll talk about humanity towards the end of the video. But you get that weapon as a special thing for killing him ahead of, you know, when you're technically supposed to. Most people don't see that until New Game Plus, which once you beat the game, you carry over everything except for quest-related items, and enemies get harder. Basically, they hit harder, they get more HP. But for those of you that have gotten past this, you'll notice that if you kill him, you don't get the key to exit the tutorial area. You're still forced to kind of go through and get everything else, and that's mainly because if you go through without that, you don't get your healing items. They're called Estus Flasks. You can bypass them, and you know, if someone happens to get the black fire bombs, which can, you know, kill them really easily, really quickly, then they might just end up skipping those. So the developers really wanted you to have to pick this up. But from here on out, it's just really weak enemies. They don't mean anything. Just meant to be a mild challenge, you know, giving you a better feel for combat. This whole point is really just getting you comfortable with combat, and then they throw you back into the boss, and by that time you kind of know what's going on, and you can kill them, and you feel really good. They're all about making you feel empowered during this tutorial. So when you're coming up here, you get about halfway up the stairs, and this, I don't know, cannonball looking thing gets rolled down after you, and you just have to avoid it. You can just run off the side of the stairs here. I think that if you just stick to the right side here as you're running down, it kind of curves off, which is why it ends up here, and it breaks this wall. And this is the guy you need to talk to.
You, thank goodness.
Yeah, he says, you know, nothing really.
I wish to ask, you and I...
He gives you your main quest. You say, yeah, I'll
Regrettably,
undertake
I
this,
have
whatever.
failed it, but perhaps there was an old thou who, thine ex, when thou... Well,
Some
now you know.
background on
Oh,
him,
an Esther.
whatever. And this is what you really came here for, is these Estus Flasks. These are your healing items throughout the game.
Oh, and it is.
Normally you would only get the Undead Asylum F2 East key, but since I killed the tutorial boss before meeting him, he gave me the big Pilgrim's key as well.
Now I must bid. I would hate to harm you, and thank you.
Yeah. So in the program files, this guy is titled Oscar, so he's Oscar of Astora. This is the guy that tosses down the cell key for you at the beginning of the game. You kind of see him at the top. Presumably, he was fighting that the asylum demon on the roof, which is why it was on the roof, and it kind of explains how he ends up here. The only way that we were able to get in was through breaking this, and the only other entry is this broken window. But you know, if you look around, you see there's a hole in the wall. So presumably he was fighting the demon, and he fell through the wall, and now he's kind of dying. So you start to leave, and you hear the death animation sound. If you get back fast enough, you can see him dying. I don't know, I've always thought that he kills himself. Some people I've read, he just dies from his wounds. Both make sense, I guess. Kills himself so he doesn't become hollow. He doesn't want to kill you. Just doesn't want to go down that route. But you'll see later, it didn't matter. So Estus Flasks, these are your main healing items. You get 5 of them to start. You drink them, they heal you up, and whenever you rest at a bonfire, all of them get refilled. And I'll talk a little bit more about the different numbers when that becomes necessary, I guess. So a little bit more about the cleric class. They start off with a mace, and this game has different classifications for weapons, and maces are blunt, and blunt weapons are really good on like skeletons and stuff, anything that would have any kind of slashing resistance, anything that's not fleshy, really. Slashing is really good against fleshy things. I mean, you can really just apply it to real world logic. Something big, heavy, and blunt is going to be really useful against something armored, because it's heavy and it hurts. Whereas slashing is really going to be good on, you know, exposed flesh and stuff. They also start with any class that starts with a specialized item, like sorcerers and clerics, the archer class, anything that has something special, you're gonna pick up off of this guy right here. This is where they give you your class's secondary attributes. And this one is a talisman. Talismans are what allow you to use miracles. They're like a cleric's magic wand. And so you'll see on my inventory menu there at the top, there's already a spell there called Heal. Clerics get this one by default. And if you put your talisman in either hand and use it like you would a weapon or your shield, just tap the bumper. It'll cast the spell, and as you can see, it decreases the spell number. So from there, again, you can rest at bonfires, and that'll replenish it all the way. What you really don't want to do with the heal spell is try using that during combat. It's really slow. It's really easy to stun lock you out of it, and you're just gonna take more damage. It's really meant to be something to heal yourself between combat, so you're not just blowing through Estus Flasks. So you can save those for when they really matter. This part of the game tries to kind of teach you how to do parries, and it's not the easiest thing, and you really don't have to worry about it until later on in the game. But a nice trick for parrying, and I'm probably gonna mess it up. You saw I got it on my first try earlier, but a nice trick is to crap. I'm about to die in this tutorial. A nice trick is to watch their hand. Different weapons, especially longer weapons like pole arms, they're gonna kind of seem to trail or something, and if you try to hit when the weapon's about to hit you, it might throw off your timing. And that's kind of a thing that throws a lot of people off. And honestly, these enemies are the worst ones to teach you parrying, because their attacks are so slow that it's really hard to time when to parry them. But if you pay attention to their hand, that's going to be the most consistent tell between enemies, because that hand animation is going to be about the same for anything. And you really want to be up in their face for the parry. See what I mean? Slow. I may or may not get this. Why did the screen flash? Sorry, I don't really know why it's doing that. I think it's gonna come up in the recording. If anybody can tell me why it just decides to flash like that from time to time, and how I might be able to fix that, that'd be really great. Because it's not only annoying for me, and as you can see, kind of interferes with the gameplay, but it's ugly and it doesn't look good for you guys. So anyways, I got the parry off, and if you attack on a parry, it's a critical damage, and like a backstab, you get critical damage for that, but a parry gives you even more damage, probably just because there's a significant trade-off. Honestly, if the parry and the backstab did the same damage, who would ever parry? It would just be a useless mechanic, so I'm guessing it's just a balancing thing. You can see the heal miracle in action. It heals a good amount, and it scales with your faith. When we get out of here, I'm just going to go through the menu and explain that, and I think I'll cut it there. I'm just going to go through some minor game mechanics, and then we can start our adventure in the next installment. So you get out here, and there's really nothing. You get some developer stuff. Good job, go straight ahead. Nothing special. You know, it's kind of cool. Some decent architecture. But one little thing here is, I'm just gonna show you since we're here right now. We come over to this little outcropping here. You can see there's a bird's nest with some eggs in it. So you come over here.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
This is Snuggly the Crow. Snuggly has the most awkward mechanic in the game, and he's a throwback to another NPC that was in Demon Souls. I think that one was called like Sparkly. So this one's Snuggly, and he asks you for, you know, something soft, something warm, and basically what you got to do is you come over to his nest, you go into your inventory, and you drop an item for him. I don't think I have anything that he'd be interested in right now, but you know, here, I'll show you what happens if you drop something he doesn't like.
No. That, no. That, no warm. That, no soft.
So anything that you can't trade to him, he's gonna instantly reject. So it's not as much trial and error. If he doesn't say anything, then it's tradable. So if you have a tradable item, there's an item, it's moss. There's 3 different kinds of mosses, and he'll accept them all. If you drop it, he won't say anything, and then what you gotta do is you actually have to quit game, and reload back in. When you come back, there'll be another item on the nest. I'll probably showcase one trait later. It's nothing too fantastic. You can get some upgrade items. You can get some weapons too if you trade certain items. But it's by no means necessary. It's kind of like just a little Easter egg, I guess. Well, maybe you can't call it that. I don't know. I just wanted to show it to you guys. It's nothing too special. So you come out here, and looks like, whoa, where am I gonna go? Well, we're just gonna keep going forward anyways. You get this cutscene. Big ol' crow comes and picks you up and takes you to the actual game. So I have a feeling this recording is getting a little long. Feels like it's long to me. Of any actual way of seeing the length. Again, if you guys have any, I'm using open broadcast. If you guys have any suggestions for something that might be better, might get better quality, better sense of time for my recordings, anything like that, that would be super helpful. So over here, you get a bunch of humanity items. Now, what humanity does is, if you go in and you use it, it fully heals you. No matter what your HP is. I've heard some people make the argument because the item says it heals a great amount of your health, so there might be some kind of ceiling to that, but I've never seen it. I've never heard of anybody having any definitive proof of that. But so when you use a humanity, you get up in the upper left corner by your health and your stamina. That number increases by 1. That's your soft humanity, the humanity that you have connected to you. I guess this is the best way to say it, without actually going into any of the lore of the game. And what that does for you is certain weapons, they'll scale with that humanity. It increases certain resistances, I think only curse. And it also increases item discovery. So if you're farming, you typically want to have a higher number of soft humanity, and that number caps out at 410 item discovery. Or no, it's 210. An item increases that to 410, but that's after 10 humanity. So anything over 10 humanity is pretty much useless and almost a waste, unless you're just actively gaining soft humanity, which is possible when you're fighting enemies in an area. If you kill enough of them, you'll just get soft humanity. There's an invisible counter in the game for that. Also, if you're doing PvP, if you win a match, or if you're doing co-op and you beat the area boss, you'll just get a soft humanity. It just gives you 1. But another thing that you can do with humanity is you can reverse hollowing. And when you reverse hollowing, you get your body back. And all this game mechanic really serves to do is open up online multiplayer. When you're in body form, you can summon and be summoned, and you can also invade and be invaded. There are certain covenants in the game. Covenants are just like groups you can join that allow you to invade while hollowed. So this can be really nice. You don't have to use humanity. You don't have to rely on soft humanity and human form to be able to access the PvP aspect of the game. I'm not going to be doing any of that through this video. I'm going to be playing online just in case I get invaded. It might be kind of fun to watch. Maybe if I win, maybe if I lose, nothing special. But and the only other thing I wanted to go through was this status menu. So this can be a little overwhelming, but if you just hit select, it literally just explains everything for you. So this is your covenant. This is what I was talking about, the groups. Clerics by default are in Way of White, and Way of White, the covenant is it's a co-op covenant, and all it really does is it makes it easier for you to find co-op signs. They appear more readily for you. Nothing special, doesn't really do anything outside of that. This is your soul level. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just leveling up souls. These are what you get for killing enemies, and you can find some items that just give them to you. These are used as currency to buy items and gear, and to repair stuff, and it's also used as your experience points. So it's kind of just a pool for everything, and you almost want to balance how you're spending it. Your priority should always be upgrading and repairing your gear, because that's where most of your damage and defense is going to be coming out of. Anything else you can really just pour into levels. You never want to just be holding on to souls, because the only thing you can do outside of spending them is losing them. So, I mean, it's never too smart to just be stockpiling them. Just use them whenever you can. Vitality, increasing that increases your HP, your health parameter. Attunement, this is how many spells your character can have memorized. It goes up at varying intervals. I think you get your second attunement slot at 12 or 14, and the third one shortly after that, and the fourth one is like another 4 to 6 levels above that. I don't really remember, but it becomes staggered. Endurance, this is going to tell you how much equipment you can have on you, and I'll talk about that later, but this just does exactly what it says here. Strength, it's going to help you carry heavier weapons and shields. You typically need a really high strength rating to use great shields, and it increases your attack damage for anything that looks almost rudimentary, anything that seems like you're going to use it to smash and bash your way to victory. You know, maces, clubs, stuff like that, and greatswords too, but even greatswords, they're going to require some dexterity because they're blades. Dexterity increases your damage with blades, pretty much. Anything that, you know, slices and dices, anything that takes some sort of finesse to be able to use right, and not just swing it around, you know, like an idiot. Apparently, it's like between 40 and 45 or 47 dexterity is when you get a noticeable increase in your spell casting. I haven't tested that personally. It's just what I've read. It seems to have been tested quite a bit. Do your own research on that. I don't know what else to say for that. Resistance is absolutely useless. I think before the game was patched, this was a really powerful stat, but now all it does is it increases your defense, which leveling up any stat does. It increases all of your defenses just for leveling it up. Any stat does that. And this increases your resistance to poison. Now, maybe poison was nerfed. I'm not sure. I haven't played it pre-patch, but poison damage doesn't do a lot to you. You can increase the resistance bar pretty easily, and when you do get it, it does minimal damage, and items that get rid of it are plentiful and cheap. So just never put any points of resistance. You're wasting levels. Intelligence is a parameter for sorcerers and anybody that wants to cast sorceries. There are 3 schools of magic. There's pyromancy, sorcery, and miracles. Sorcery requires a large investment in intelligence. Unless you're pumping points in this, your sorceries they're going to be nothing more than token damage. They're nothing special unless you really start pumping intelligence, and then you can pretty much, you know, 2-shot bosses. It can be extremely powerful, but it kind of turns the game into a point-and-click adventure, so to speak. So I'm not even gonna bother with it. It's really strong. It's fun if you're just doing it by yourself, but it's not very fun to watch. Faith increases the effectiveness of your miracles, very much like intelligence. As the same concept, you really want to be pumping points in this. Certain spells and miracles are going to have requirements of intelligence and faith to use them, but we can see that a little later. And then pyromancy. Notice how there's no stat that seems to govern that, because pyromancy requires no stats. Anybody can use pyromancy as long as you have the item called the pyromancy flame. And all pyromancy really requires is souls. You just upgrade the pyromancy flame like any other weapon or any kind of gear, except you don't need any items to do it, just a ridiculous amount of souls. And apparently that speed also scales off of really high levels of dexterity, but again, I'm not even going to be bothering with that. I think I'm just going to do a strength faith build, because that's kind of what this guy's defaultly geared towards. And then this just tells you how many humanity you have on you. You guys can kind of go through and read the rest of these. I don't want to just be rambling on about this. The one thing I will talk about though is poise. The ability to receive attacks without breaking form. That may or may not be clear to a lot of people. So what happens is, if you have really high poise, if you get hit by some kind of heavy attack, you won't get staggered, or your chances of being staggered are greatly decreased. If you have no poise, any kind of attack is gonna stagger you. An attack from a dagger might stun lock you. So poise can be really important to your survival. Honestly, if you get a piece of armor and it's a little heavier than what you got, and maybe even have like 1 or 2 less points of defense, but it's giving you poise, you want to put that on, because the poise is going to keep you alive more than that 1 or 2 points of defense. It doesn't scale that well. That's about it. So I'm just going to spend these souls. When you're at a bonfire outside of the tutorial, you get level up and attune magic. I don't have any other spells, so I'll talk about attune magic later, but level up, you can see it says level 2 souls, that's how many I have, and rec souls, that's the souls required to reach the next soul level. How many of your current souls are going to be spent to level up 1 point. So let's pump a couple into faith and 1 into strength, just because. Alright, so that was the tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, please give me any kind of tips, comments, questions, concerns, complaints. If you just want to make fun of me, whatever, I'm good sport. I do ask that you, if you are going to criticize, make it a little constructive so that I can improve. But, again, whatever. This is the internet. I'm not a child. Alright. So, take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time.